Welcome to the FitBiz Accelerator, your ultimate guide to launching, growing, and scaling a thriving online fitness business. I'm your host, Tobias Young, and whether you're just starting out or looking to take your business to the next level, this podcast is packed with actionable tips, real-world strategies, and the insights you need to crush your business goals and build the business of your dreams. Now that you're here, let's dive in. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the FitBiz Accelerator Podcast, where we help fitness coaches, studio owners, and online trainers launch, grow, and scale a business that creates impact, income, and lots of freedom. Today's guest is going to bring a really powerful conversation around faith, purpose, fitness, and also just overall business growth. And I'm joined today by Erica Carter, who is the owner, founder, franchisor, and certified Pilates instructor behind Prayers Pilates. And that is a faith-based reformer Pilates and infrared sauna studio, believe it or not. And Erica spent her career in real estate before actually feeling called by God to step away and build something a lot deeper. And that calling became Prayer and Pilates. And today the brand is preparing to open its third location with the first franchise studio launching this summer. So we're going to talk about what it really looks like to follow a bigger calling, build a brand with faith at the center, grow quickly, and then navigate the challenge of expansion and create a fitness experience that impacts people physically, mentally, and spiritually. Erica, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, Erica, I'm excited for this one because I think a lot of people in the fitness space are looking for more than just workouts and reps and sets and calories and memberships. They want meaning and they want purpose and they want community. And what you've built with Prayers and Pilates really brings all of that together. So before we get into the business and the franchise side, I'd love for you to start really quick with your story. I'll just kind of dive into it. You spent your career in real estate before stepping into the fitness and wellness space. Can you take us back to that season of your life and what was happening when you first started feeling that calling to step away from real estate and pursue something different?
I did, yes. I was in real estate for about 15 years. So I started in new home sales, worked my way up to ultimately be a vice president of sales for one of the new home builders in DFW. And at that point, I had felt that I had reached my pinnacle within real estate. I was excited about what that next chapter looked like. And at that same time, within that same year, I really felt called to give it all up and start really making a different kind of impact with other people. I had started practicing Pilates about 2021, and I had seen the benefits in myself, both internally and externally. It was something that I wanted to go through that certification to understand why different fitness modalities that I had done previously didn't give me those same benefits, and left me feeling more drained than I did in Pilates, and it was harder on my joints and things like that. So I knew I wanted to learn more, and before I could help anybody else, I needed to understand the fundamentals. So I went through that 500-hour comprehensive certification, bought a reformer at my house, started an in-home studio, thought it was going to be me practicing alone. I am a mom of 4 boys, and I've been married for 14 years. And so I would go in there for me time. And what I found is my kids would come in there and follow me, and they wanted to see, first of all, what was this contraption? Second of all, why is mommy spending more time in here than we allow her to? They need my time. So they came in there and they wanted to do the workouts with me. So it ended up being a place where we could move our bodies, and eventually ended up being a place where we could thank God for that ability to move our bodies and that we got to do it together as a family. I'll never forget, I explained to my kids why I thought that was a great time to go through my praying and my faith with the Lord. And then I walked in on them praying on the reformer. And so it was incredibly special to me to really blend the two. And I felt it was special for them as well. So God really laid it on my heart that I wasn't going to be the only mom who felt this need of connecting, our physical wellness with our spiritual health. And so once he laid that on my heart, I was like, wait, you want me? I just became this vice president of sales. It's what I've been striving for the last 15 years. And for a moment in time, I tried to do both. And my family life was just crumbling. It wasn't what I knew God wanted for me. So I had to let go of the reins and really free fall into this calling. And he has shown up in the biggest way possible. And what we have found is what you were saying earlier, is that there's a community of people out there that aren't just looking for physical wellness, they're looking for spiritual health as well. And so I feel like we're able to provide that in our classes.
Yeah, I love that. And then when you say that you felt called by God, like what did that look like for you? Was it a clear moment or was it more of like a slow kind of nudge over time?
I would say it was a slow nudge over 6 months. At first, I thought it was like this crazy idea. And I'm like, oh, my husband and I laugh because he's always been the dreamer and I'm the realist. Like, I am like spiritual stability. Everything has to make sense. And so when I had this dream, I knew it wasn't my norm. And so I knew that first I was being led by it through prayer, but then little things just happened and opened up along the way that I really felt God's hand in all of it. And when I really felt it the most is when things started to derail. And I could just see in that moment that there was something special that was about to break through. And so all of these hardships or things that I was going through, I started looking at them with kind of a smirk, so to speak, because I'm like, oh, I know what's behind that door. And so I kept just like, okay, well, then I just kept pushing through. If you know me, I don't take no for an answer. I finally gave up the reins of what I thought I had reached in my real estate career. And once I did that, doors started opening up.
Wow. And I know a lot of people that feel that pull towards something bigger, but they stay stuck because they're afraid to leave what's familiar and kind of that comfort level. So what gave you the courage to actually make that leap?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because, like I said, I think when God gives us a plan, He knows, I'll use a kind word here, He knows how silly we are. So He knew I was going to hold on really tight. It was not something that was easy for me because I'm like, this is stability. I worked hard for this. This has been my whole career, so to speak. And it was something that I enjoyed doing, but it was just having a support system too. My husband is my biggest cheerleader, my biggest support. He's like, you want to do it? Let's do it. And knowing that I had the support of my family helped me. But it wasn't until I really just saw that other people within the community were like, wait, you're opening what? Oh, that's something I want to get behind. And so knowing that there was a community out there made that really an easier transition for me, being able to have those organic conversations of women looking for the same thing, women and men. I won't discredit the men that come to our studios. We do have them. So it's just very special. So it wasn't easy. I guess that's in a short way to answer that question. It wasn't easy, but it was the best decision of my entire life. I couldn't have even foreseen the way that God was going to show up back then. If I put myself back then, I was just like, okay, you're just going to just do this. It's going to either sink or fail, but like you'll pick yourself up. Like I always had faith in my business perspective. I really took a chance on myself when I still felt that calling. So I was like, even if it fails, I know that we'll be able to get back in and I know my work ethic and things like that. But then it didn't fail. It didn't fail. And a lot of hard work. I don't want it to sound like it just like poof overnight. A lot of sleepless nights. A lot of people want to see the end game and they don't see that path beforehand. But if without that path, you're not going to get there. It doesn't matter whether it's a vision, you have to put that work in. It's that obedience and it's showing up every single day.
Yeah. I think a lot of people like they take a look and they see a successful business and like the only thing that they see is like the tip of the iceberg mountain sticking out of the water and like, oh man, that's beautiful. But they don't see all the heavy lifting. Like the icebergs are like 20 times the size of what they can actually see. And that's all the hard work that they don't see going on, all that underwater work. And looking back now, what do you think real estate taught you that helped prepare you for building Prayers and Pilates?
So many things. Location is important no matter what. You definitely need to do your research on where you're going to open a studio. So that's huge. And then going up the chain and management and being able to manage, motivate. Those are things that I had to do previously in new home sales. And then just looking at what else is out there. How can we be different? How can we be supportive? So that was a huge difference in mindset for me because when I was in new home sales, we looked at the competition as, of course, a negative thing. How are we going to be better? How are we going to undercut pricing? And so feeling more of that, this is impact work, this is mission work. It's now looking at the competition of, okay, we're all in this together. Like it's a greater thing. Like, I want to see her win. No, I want to see him win. I want I want there to be this revolution of faith-based businesses. And I've recently had somebody say, well, what keeps somebody else from opening a faith-based business down the road? I hope they do. Being able to boldly speak about that and really feel the difference in the community is something I'm proud of.
Yeah, I love that. That's the abundant mindset in there. And let's talk about the beginning of Prayers and Pilates. Where did the idea first come from? Because that's different.
Yeah. So when we were in that in-home studio with my boys, where I made it, had this brick wall, and we put a sign in there that said Prayers and Pilates. So it really was to hold us accountable. We're going to work out in here and we're going to thank God for our abilities to do so. So like a gratitude room. And that sign is actually the sign that we put in our first location. So we have just kind of an impact wall, and we were able to bring that in there. And I remember thinking, I don't know, are people going to understand or appreciate like what's been so personal to us? But what I really want when anybody that comes to our studio to know exactly what you're going to get. I don't want anybody to walk in there and feel bamboozled. So I really wanted to lead boldly with faith and really start that conversation. Well, what does that mean? Are you preaching to me while I'm working out? What are you doing? Are you on a pulpit? No, we're going to show the love of Christ, and we are going to pray over you in every class. We're going to ask for ways we can continually pray over you. We build community Bible studies. We build vendor events where we can build up other businesses. So I wanted to have something that was going to spark the question of, well, what does that really mean? Because like I said, I didn't want them to be confused or feel off put when they came through the door.
Yeah, no, I love that. And for somebody who's never walked into one of your studios, how would you describe that experience? Like, what makes it different from traditional Pilates studios?
It's welcoming, and not just Pilates in general, but I feel like some fitness, gyms, or even again, Pilates studio, bar studios, they get a rap of exclusivity, or you have to be a certain type or a certain way to really feel that you belong or seen there. For us, that's not the case. Like, we want you to feel welcome. We want you to feel the Holy Spirit and know that it doesn't matter what part of life you are on your fitness journey. We're going to meet you where you are. And we have people from all ages, all walks of life that come in there, and they're not only growing stronger, but their confidence is building. And for me, that's unmatched. Being able to see them walk a little bit taller, bigger smiles, talking when they came in and originally were just sitting over on the furthest reformer because they were intimidated, and now they're in the middle of the class and like happy to be seen. And so we want everybody to leave knowing that they're seen not only by us, but by Jesus Christ as well.
What do you believe happens when someone stops viewing exercise as punishment, as some can, and then they start viewing movement as a form of actual gratitude?
It's a life changer. Like you said, it goes from I have to I get to. And we've seen the repercussions of people who have put that on the back burner. And you get to a certain stage, we're all going to get there someday, where it's difficult to just bend down and tie your shoes or play with your grandkids, or even before being a grandkid, just going out there and having the energy to run around with your kids. I have 4 young boys, and before making sure that I was being grateful for the body that God gave me and for my unique abilities and to work out and show up for myself, it's hard to get that energy. And so being able to strengthen your body along with your mind and your spirit, we want people to feel like their cup is being filled while they're at our studio, so that they can outpour that to everybody else that they encounter, whether it's their families, their friends, coworkers. And so I think that's what we do really well.
Oh, that's so cool. And this is such an important topic, I think, because the fitness industry can sometimes make people feel like their body is never good enough, right? Not lean enough, not young enough, not strong enough, not perfect enough. So how does faith change the way that your members actually view their bodies and their health?
I think it goes from wanting that Pilates body to like, I just want to be stronger. What does that mean? Everybody's stronger is going to look different. And I know for me, when I'm praying over the members and the classes that I'm teaching, I want them to unlock new potential in themselves that God's always designed them for. They just haven't even seen it or even tapped into that. And that's not physical physique. That's so many just different talents that a body in motion stays in motion, and being able to keep showing up for themselves. That's really what we want for them.
Nice. And how do you help women or, anyone, I know you said there's guys in there too, who come into your studio? How do you help them feel stronger physically, but also more grounded grounded emotionally and spiritually?
Yeah, so stronger, all of our instructors are certified. So that's one of the benefits of Pilates. And so people always, why does it cost as much? Or, what am I getting from Pilates? It's different. You have women that have gone through certifications to modify, progress based on special populations. So when we say it's for all bodies, you're not going to get lost in a big class because they were keyed in and tuned in to look for different things, whether it's spinal health, whether it's rehabilitation. We can modify that group fitness class to an individual approach. So that's in terms of the strength piece. That's why Pilates is so great. And then in terms of the mental and that spiritual, we're speaking affirmations over them. We're praying over them. We are listening to worship music. So they're working out and they can worship and feel like they're not coming in there. And we get a lot of people that say, we're coming here specifically because we don't know that we're all in to this prayer, but we don't want to listen to the rap music or, that's not something we want to fill our minds or our thought process when we're working out. We want something that's more calm. And so that gives us that open door to talk about why it's important for us as well. But we've had so many people that just come because of that atmosphere.
Nice. And what kind of transformation have you seen in your members beyond just the physical results? Like, do you have a story of a client or a member whose life was really impacted by the environment that you created?
Absolutely. So we have so many stories, but one in particular I was talking to this about with my instructors. There's a lady in our studio and she came to one of our intros. She had not worked out in years and anything prior to that, maybe walking, which is great. And even she was moving her body, but she had neglected that for some time. And we've got a row of 10 reformers and she would always choose the back one. And she said, I don't want to be in anybody's way. I don't want anybody to, be moving differently because they're watching me, because there was an insecurity there. And we just kept loving on her and just telling her, we are so grateful that you showed up today. You've showed up. You're that much stronger. And I tell you what, every time I go and see her now, she picks that dead center middle reformer. She has the biggest smile on her face. She's not hiding from anybody. She feels seen and loved. And so that is just one story of many. But that to me, you really can't put into words how that makes you feel, just being able to be a part of that. So yeah. I love seeing people and their confidence because fitness, if you do the right things, you're doing it properly, that's something that people can get to on their own and through help, through coaching. But that confidence is years and years of neglect of loving yourself. So when you see those things start dropping down and those walls start breaking down, I mean, that's generational for them and for their families.
That's beautiful. And I think a lot of studio owners underestimate how powerful community can be. How intentional have you been about building community inside Prayers and Pilates?
Is one of the things that's always top of mind. Like I said, I want to be able to help other businesses that are, hey, we need support. And so we've built this community, which is such a beautiful thing, but that's also from a business standpoint, that's leverage. So we can leverage that community, that space to be able to help the next person in whatever their business is. And seeing all these faith-based businesses reach out to us and say, God put the same on my heart. Really nice to see and be able to do vendor events where we give them time on the microphone to talk about their businesses. That's something that's really a big calling on my heart. We just had an event over at the Marriott in Westlake, and just seeing these different businesses being able to tell their story is pretty magical.
I love that. And I also want to shift into the business side of things because I know a lot of fitness professionals that are listening, they want to build something bigger than just a job. They want a real brand. And when you first started Prayers and Pilates, did you already know that you wanted to grow it into multiple locations and eventually franchise, or did that vision evolve as the business grew?
And so the community came first. So it was the outpouring of people. Hey, how can I get behind this? Hey, I want one in my city. People all over the United States reached out when we officially launched, and it was just an inbox flooding. And so I was like, this is just too special to keep here. And business, as you know, I'm very much business minded. That first studio, we were building the next studio 7 months in because we were able to do so. And then the franchise came from that outpouring, and then just an outpouring of people that I knew personally were going to be the right fit. So I think switching gears into that franchise piece, It's not necessarily an interviewing, it's more of a recruiting and making sure you've got the right people in place. And that's how that came to be. So we're just really on the cusp of what that is, because I wanted to make sure anything that I do, I put my whole heart, my whole self into. And so being a mom of 4 boys and being able to juggle that, I knew that I needed to make sure my processes were in place. Everything was going to be an easy copy and paste. And so we've just now really secured that. And I cannot wait to see Weatherford thrive, because again, it's one of my dear friends and her husband that are opening it. So I know that the heart is there, and then being able to help them from the business perspective is something that I enjoy.
So cool. And what were some of the biggest challenges in going from your first location to now preparing for your third? Because from the outside, people see the exciting stuff. They see the branding, the growth, the new locations, the franchise opportunity. But behind the scenes, growth usually comes with pressure. So what were some of the growing pains that you had to work through?
Yeah, pressure, and then layer on the faith-based component. So there's accountability. So you've got pressure, then you got accountability, and you really just kind of topple it all down, because you can't just talk the talk, you're walking the walk. And that's huge for our brand. It's huge for what we're doing. So just making sure that we have the right people in place. I knew this even in real estate. Your people are your drivers. So, be slow to hire, quick to fire, especially in something where your brand is based on something higher and deeper calling. You really can't let anything that's opposed to that kind of pull away from the importance of what you're doing. But at the same token, you could have the right people, but needing to nurture that every day, because you're showing up in a different way. And that takes obedience. That takes waking up with gratitude and really having to focus on yourself. If you're going to pour into others from an instructor perspective, from a manager perspective, you have to be filled yourself. And so making sure that we talk about that and that we're intentional, not only when we're hiring, but in our instructor meetings in general, doing retreats or doing anything that we can, doing outings. That's something that's really important.
Yeah, that is important. And what's been one of the hardest parts of expanding the business? Was it the hiring, the systems, letting go of control, keeping the culture consistent, or maybe it was managing your own energy?
Yeah, I think for me, it's been balancing that home life and just knowing. I intentionally kind of dragged my feet even when we had this first outpour of people wanting to franchise, because I know once I'm all in, I'm all in. So the time that I'm going to give is well past what's required of me in that franchise. And so just making sure that I have everything buttoned up on my end to where it's not draining me. And I've always, even in real estate, I'm a process person. People will laugh. We're like, well, let's make a process for that. I want to work smarter, not harder. So with the faith-based component, the authenticity is so important. With the business perspective, it can be that easy as putting a process in place and copy and paste. It has to be, or else you're going to be using your energy and that cup that I spoke about earlier towards the wrong things. Put in place the processes that you can and work on the authenticity when it comes to the important things about your brand would be my advice.
Nice. So important. Yeah. Create those SOPs, which are standard operating procedures, which is you need to have those if you're going to scale. And for the fitness studio owner that's listening who wants to grow, but they feel overwhelmed by everything else on the plate, what advice would you give?
Make sure, just look at what you have and go through the last time. For us, it was top of mind. So we had just gone from one to the next, but document everything. Don't feel that you have to reinvent the wheel. You document what worked, and don't be afraid to quickly change what did not work and try something different. But really making that core of, hey, this was good. We don't need to rebrand it. We don't need to change the marketing on that. It was effective the first time. Let's move into it the second time. And then again, spin your wheels, make your time and effort towards things that you need to change, but don't fix.
Yeah, makes sense. And how did you know when it was time to stop doing everything yourself and then start building a team underneath you?
So from day one, we started with, I want to say about 4 to 5 instructors. And then we had a woman that was like her background in marketing. So she kind of helped me, especially when I was still trying to hold on tight to real estate. But it was through her influence and her impact that I was like, oh, this is somebody that we need to have just overall. And so I've had my general manager pretty much from day one, and so it was something that we could learn together and go through that process. And plus we could, bounce ideas off of each other. So again, I held back on taking any kind of income for myself, knowing like, hey, if this is going to grow, I'm going to invest more so in the people and do what needs to be done the right way first, instead of just trying to, safeguard what income I could be bringing in on the front end and making it harder for myself. Because having somebody manage those daily operations allows me the time to put those processes and procedures kind of in place in the background.
Yeah. And this is exciting. You're preparing for your first franchise studio to launch this summer. So what made you decide franchising was the next step for you guys?
Again, it's all been about, like I was talking about earlier with the competition, it's all been about how many Prayers and Pilates can we have out there. And again, somebody can open another faith-based studio, but if somebody's already gone through a few of the hardships and you want to have that mentor and have somebody who's been through it, I think is something that I can bring to the table. And having the people, the outpouring of that community saying, we want this, then let's do it together. We're about to celebrate our second year, so let's grow together. And that's my mentality based on the community that's shown up for us.
Always work smarter, not harder necessarily.
Yes.
Because you're going to have to work harder anyways. But a lot of people love the idea of franchising, but they might not realize how much work and clarity and documentation and systems and, brand consistency it requires. What have you had to build behind the scenes to make the franchise model actually possible?
A consistency. So we've built a manual that really kind of ABCs of it, but then consistent check-ins. So those weekly check-ins of, hey, here's what we're doing. At this point, you guys should be thinking about this. Have you thought about that? Going even above and beyond. It's part of the franchise. I'm offering myself up. Let me do the interviews with you. Like, if people is super important, let's have those first ones together and let's really, see and until you feel comfortable of what we're looking for, because I also don't want them set up with something that could possibly bring them down on the front end. And the people part is just so important. So consistency and having something that they can really piggyback off of and go back to, that manual has been important.
Nice. And I'd love to talk about mindset, because building something purpose-driven, it still comes with a lot of fear and doubt, and there's pressure in there. So has there been moments where you questioned whether you were ready for this type of level of growth? And how do you stay grounded when the business starts moving quickly?
Absolutely. There's times that I ask God all the time, I don't feel qualified, or there's moments of doubt, or that imposter syndrome, starts to sink in. And if I'm not intentional about my time and my faith, then there's no way that I can talk to somebody else about their time and their faith. And while I'm leading these Bible studies, I want to make sure that everything that I'm saying, or even the prayers that we're giving, are something that is honoring God, like never ego. And so we're human. We wake up with an ego every day. So I have to be intentional to make sure that I shed that and I get real with myself as well. Does not come without its challenges. And again, it's a higher level of accountability, because when we want to react that certain way, you just can't. You can't build a business based around Jesus and then not be able to love people and show up for them the way that you're supposed to.
Yeah, so true. And you have to have a deeper why and reasoning behind everything that you do. And a lot of people listening are online fitness coaches, and they're studio owners and they're gym owners, or they're trainers that are trying to build something that actually stands out. So from your experience, what do you think makes a fitness brand actually memorable?
How you feel after you leave. Were you just a number? Was the coaching or was the class based on the instructor, or were people really looking and helping me with my form? Like, if I was going to take a class for myself, do I feel seen by that person, or do I feel like that workout was for them? Like, it was just something that they pulled out of their catalog and I got lost in a group fitness class. So what I personally would want to see is somebody utilizing my name, somebody noticing when I'm hitting those milestones, somebody noticing when my form is off, or maybe I'm coming in a little bit differently, like asking one step further, hey, is everything going all right? Like, how are you? And really sitting in that. That's what I would look for. And that's what I hope people feel when they come to our studios as well.
Great advice right there. And what do you believe fitness professionals need to understand about creating an experience and not just selling a service? Because anyone can sell workouts and anyone can offer classes, but not everyone creates a place that people feel connected to. So what have you done intentionally to make prayers and Pilates feel more than just a workout?
It's going through and making sure that when you're asking people about how they're doing, it's a follow-up. But you have to really sit in your why. So if you're an instructor, why are you doing it? It's hours upon hours. We've all been there. It's dedication, but are you doing it to just build your singular brand? Are you doing it to truly help others? And I think that authenticity is what matters the most, is making sure every day that and I struggle with this too. There's early mornings or there's days that maybe, family life wasn't going the way that it should the night before, but really sitting in it and saying, I don't have to, I get to. And if they wake up every morning and say, I don't have to, I get to, or taking it a step further and saying, for all the people that can't, let me be the one that can, and go and make an impact for other people, because there are so many people out there that absolutely wish that they could. And the fact that we get to help facilitate seeing people get stronger and being able to move and maybe just believing in themselves again is such a cool experience that you can't let that be taken for granted every morning. And so just sitting in that before you even go in to teach any class, I don't have to, I get to. I think that's important.
That is so good. That is so good, Erica. And I want to hit you with a few rapid fire questions before we wrap up. So you ready for this? Just quickly.
All right. I hope so.
Comes to mind. Okay. Let's jam. What's one word that you would use to describe this season of your life?
Oh, goodness. That's fast. Just gratitude. I mean, overwhelming gratitude.
Okay. What's one Bible verse or phrase that has helped you kind of guide you through the whole entrepreneurship journey?
Philippians 4:13. We have it on our first studio wall, and I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, because we are just the conduit. But again, that confidence, God showing up, that's his work. So that's definitely something that drives me in everything that we do.
Yeah. I know John, I don't know if you watch UFC or anything, but John Jones, heavyweight champ. Well, he's not the champ now, but anyways, he has that tattooed on his chest. Yeah. What's one business lesson that you had to learn the hard way?
It could take a very small amount of time if you have the wrong person in place to create a fire of just discourse. And so you've got to be, it's cliche, but you got to be slow to hire, quick to fire. You've got to get rid of the ones that are going to bring other people down.
Yep. What's one thing every studio owner should stop doing now?
Oh, goodness. That's a great question. I don't know. They should stop focusing more on their I don't know, their outward marketing versus their in-class and environment, I suppose.
Okay. That kind of leads into the next question, which is what's one thing every studio should start doing?
Just using people's name, loving on them a little bit more than you are now, and just watch the change that it makes in them.
Okay. And what's one habit that keeps you grounded?
Sitting in the Word in the mornings.
Ooh. What's one trait that you look for when you're building your team?
Just love. I mean, just joy. Love and joy.
All right. What's one piece of advice you would give your younger self, Erica?
Things are they're not going to go the way that you planned, but they're going to be so much more than you ever expected.
Two more. What's one thing that people would be surprised to know about you, Erica?
Oh my goodness. Surprised to know about me. I don't know. I'm an open book, so I'm not sure. I don't know what they would be surprised to know about me. I was never really good at that. What's fun fact about yourself in any growing position? That was never my forte. I don't know. I'm half Filipino. That's one I always use.
Okay. There you go. I didn't know that.
I'm half Filipino. Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. And then finally, when you think about the future of Prayers and Pilates, what excites you the most?
Pouring of Jesus's love on all of our studios, just seeing him show up in a big way. I can't wait to see this next chapter. It's all about growth in his name. So can't wait to see where that takes us.
Awesome. And Erica, this has been such a great conversation. And before we wrap up, what's one message that you want listeners to walk away with today?
I would just say, just follow. If you feel called, know that first step is that scariest step, but you have a community. If you look for it and people that are just like you, that are want to love and mentorship you. And if God gave you the calling, he's going to give you the members. He's going to give you the people. He's going to give you all of the employees. So don't push that off to the side and say, I don't know, I'm not a dreamer, because this non-dreamer took that leap of faith, and it's been more than I could have ever imagined. So listen when you feel called.
So awesome. And where can people connect with you, learn more about Prayers and Pilates, or follow the growth of your brand?
Yes, follow us on Instagram. It's at Prayers Pilates, or you can check us out on our website, www.prayersandpilates.com. But we've got a lot of fun events coming up, so we'd love to invite you to the studio.
All right, let's go. Studio time, everybody. And Erica, thanks so much for being on the show. I love what you're building, because it's such a strong reminder that fitness can be about so much more than just looking better. It can be about healing and community and faith and confidence and purpose, and creating a space where people can honor their body and strengthen their mind and connect with something bigger. So for everyone listening, make sure you go connect with Erica and check out Prayers and Pilates. And as always, if you're a fitness coach, studio owner, gym owner, and you want to grow a stronger business, or you're an online trainer, and you want to build a powerful brand and you want to create more impact, make sure you subscribe to the FitBiz Accelerator Podcast. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning into the FitBiz Accelerator. If you found value in today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a tip or strategy to grow your online fitness business. And if you're ready to fast track your success, don't forget to check out tntfitprocoaching.com. Until next time, stay consistent, stay focused, and keep crushing it.